Hi, Canada. I'm Madison Holmes.
I'm Macy Holmes.
And you're watching Holmes². So, today we're going to cast some judgments.
Oh, damn.
No,
Get our whacking sticks.
Yeah, we're going to play whack-a-mole. Except we have bad aim, so it's not going to be very successful. No, Macy, before we hit record, Macy was just saying, look, no criticisms. We can't handle criticisms.
No, I said I can't. As a joke.
But we are going to cast nothing but criticisms because we're women and that's what we do.
Oh, hell yeah. Estrogen warfare, as Ian Burlingame would call it.
Yeah, we'll have to do another episode on Ian Burlingame himself because
that'll be in our next ep. The one we're going to do next. I'm going to address some of the things that he talks about. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, as he would do. Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit annoying to listen to. But anyhow. Today we are going to, it's kind of a continuation off of the limited hangout conversation we had previously.
Mm-hmm.
In part because there's more limited hangouts, surprise, surprise. But also, as I've come to understand limited hangouts, for me anyway, because I didn't really get them before we actually did our episode on them, I'll be real. And now that I do get them, I see them all the time. I'm like, oh, there's a limited hangout and there's a limited hangout. So that's one of the reasons we thought, okay, let's continue this.
Yeah.
Yes, and specifically on the MAHA movement is kind of where we're at.
Which is the Make America Great. No, Healthy Again.
It took me forever to get that acronym because I knew the mega movement. And then all the time in all the podcasts we watch, Man in America, the Corbett Report, everybody that said the MAHA movement, I'm like, what is the MAHA movement? And then I think it might have been Dad who's like, Make America Healthy Again. I was like, oh.
Yeah, somebody finally said the acronym before we actually understood what the heck it meant.
Yeah, it was I want to say at least a couple months before I actually understood what people were alluding to. I got the names they were talking about, like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and such, but I didn't actually put two and two together. And this just goes to show that we're very intelligent, which is why you should listen to us.
Yes. We just lose people right at this point in the episode.
Honestly, that was something that I was thinking about just Monday. Is today Monday?
Today's Monday.
Today's Monday. Okay, so a week ago. I was listening to stuff for this episode, and it was actually the Derek Bros interview on The Last American Vagabond. They were talking about Palantir and not Event 201, Detachment 201, all of this stuff going on. And it was just the reflection that people actually tune in to listen to you and I, and just the same humbleness that I felt when our groups here in Calgary raised funds to send us to the Reunify conference. I felt that same, almost, it's also like a pressure because, you know, every week me and Macy put together at least, like if I share my screen right here, if you guys can see the tabs, like this is one. So on here, there's like minimum 2 that we listened to for this episode. Another one here, another couple here that we've listened to. Here's one here. Just all of these tabs are stuff that we've put together for these episodes, and we do this weekly now. So, and
it's more responsibility, which is kind of nice. I mean, we were never not going to keep educating ourselves.
No.
That's kind of the whole point, but it's a bit more, can you put it in a cohesive way? Because if you yourself can't even explain it, then how well do you really understand it?
Yeah.
Which is a challenge, because I'm not going to claim that I actually understand everything, but definitely not. But I am accepting the challenge of wanting to take on the responsibility of trying to articulate it. I mean, this particular audience is not too familiar with some of the content that we speak of, which is nice, because it's always nice to have those type of like in our family, we make inferences all the time, But it's nice that we can take on that challenge and continue to try and put in the work to make sure it's good for people watching.
Yeah, and keep it open enough that we allow people to still do their own research, because the one thing, and you were actually it was a couple other people that had recommended different podcasts with other young people, and specifically also young females doing their own version of commentary. And what we also do here is commentary. We're putting in our own opinion, partly because you can't escape it. There is no position from nowhere. We are not omnipotent beings. We can only speak from our own experience. And so that being the case, you and I really own our values in most of what we learn and communicate with. But I'd like to think that it's open enough that it's exploratory, so we're trying to get people to think about more things generally and include more perspectives rather than honing in a specific one as it is.
Because we're trying to do the same thing for ourselves.
That's what yeah, exactly. So we're trying to lead by example and lead by this openness to greater thinking. And I checked out some of the shows about the younger girls that people were saying they admire on their podcasts, and my initial reaction was I actually felt bad. People like Brett Cooper, she talks about the latest and greatest, even with celebrities. What went down with Katy Perry, Justin Bieber, she was on it. And I could care less, to be candid. And I almost felt bad because I thought, these people might be expecting something more like that from girls our age. I can't meet that bar.
Yeah.
There's so many other things that we've talked about that I'm like, I feel like I have to wrap my head around all of this greater world stuff. So even some of the ones that you watched and you listened to a little bit of their commentary, it personally made me cringe.
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'm not gonna name what it is. I refuse, but there were two relatively young women. They're older than me and Maddie, but they have a show, and listening to them talk makes me want to kill myself. Like, to put it candidly, because honestly, it's just I can't handle the voices as well. Like, sure, maybe what they're saying could be like, hey, like, who cares of how they're talking if they're saying something of substance? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm sure some people hate the sound of my voice and might think it's annoying. I don't know. I sometimes do, but I really can't handle like the stereotypical like valley girl, like whitewash type of accent. Because I don't know. It's like my brain goes like, you don't talk like that. Like, I know you're faking it. I know it's not how you talk. You had to have mimicked a parent or somebody to sound relatively normal. You do not talk like that. That is how you talk around your girlfriends, and that's fine, but that is not how you actually freaking talk, and it bothers my soul. But regardless, the commentary as well, getting to the actual substance, is very, in my opinion, one-sided and very shallow. Like, I think I have no problem with, I guess, people wanting to nitpick particular politicians or particular figures out there in the world. That's fine. You can have a whole podcast if you wanted to dedicated to, psychologically profiling this particular individual. But it's just, to me, I feel like it's a bit, still keeps you within the diameters or the parameters, I should say, of left and right thinking. Even if it might not be like left politically, right politically, it just feels like you're stuck in I'm focusing on this particular group,
right,
or that particular person of this particular group,
right,
and then I'm just putting all my energy towards it, and then like people walk away, and I'm not gonna lie, like who benefits from it? Like I just every time I listen to him, like who? So what did I gain from that? Nothing. Like that's literally how I felt. I'm like, so I just wasted like 5 minutes of my life listening to you for nothing. And you may have made me laugh, but even the jokes had no moral substance to them.
Yeah, that's one thing some people say what makes comedy is that there's a little bit of truth in it.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard jokes though where there was just no truth.
Or it's just straight up like, not gonna lie, I have a theory, and it's that females, their humor is they like weird noises. And I think that this theory is valid because I have used me and my sister as our own anecdotes, so screw you. I'm in my own little self-enclosed laboratory of how I prove this to be right. But honestly, I've come across me and my sister, but also other girls where it's just weird noises. We bond over making weird sounds. And so, sure, is that funny to me because I'm a girl? Yes. But then at some point, you gotta like put it down. It's not that entertaining. It's like, calm the hell down. Like, calm down. It's not that funny. It's funny because I'm biased, but everybody else, the whole other side of the sex, is probably looking at you like you're freaking retarded. And
it's statistically, men are funnier than women.
They are funnier.
You know, that's not to crap on women, as I am one. I like to be practical, and I don't like to put women on a pedestal. You know, just call it for how it is.
Okay, Maddie, let's deviate.
No, it's not really a deviation because we watched a movie, and which one wasn't this one? This one. Oh, that's not the one. This is the one. Just thought I'd show you guys our faces again because you're not already looking at them. This movie you just talked about,
it's called Lions to Lambs.
Lions for Lambs. Lions for
those
Lambs.
who are listening.
Yes, and Macy, you just alluded to the dichotomy and the paradigm, still the zeitgeist and the parameters of the left and right.
Yes.
Don't mock Ian Burlingame.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's my right hemisphere picking up on ticks.
Yeah, definitely ticks, and ticks you want out of the system. This movie was done in 2007, and we just came across it last night, I believe.
Yep.
And it was directed by Robert Redford, which I believe that's this guy right here. That's the actor, which I haven't verified this yet, but supposedly CIA affiliations is there's speculation.
Either his character was supposed
No, I think the actor.
Oh, the actor.
The actor, not the teacher.
Okay.
It was overall recommend people go watch it, but that was a movie. So watching it for ourselves, there's a scene in it where there's a kid about our age. I think he's in high school, or maybe early university. So either way, he's our age.
University student.
And he was basically having this debate with the professor saying, why would I show up to a school and get propagandized? And why would I contribute to the system where the bureaucracy and the politicians, they have the whole system set up for them to win, for me to lose? Why would I play?
Yeah, and then the teacher was saying that it's like, well, you're not showing that you're caring. But then he was like, what is your solution then? I become a congressman? He's like, just so that I can end up like all of these freaking useless men that don't actually have any conviction. They don't care about people. They just care about cheating the system. Like, that's how I'm going to make change, is I'm going to end up in the very system that's designed to kick people like me out.
And when me and Macy heard it, both of us, while it was playing, we were like, yes, exactly. See, though me and Macy also have a dynamic that the character didn't, is that we actually are politically involved, and we are on the stage. We've been to the protests, we've been to the rallies, we're doing the thing, even though we have the same feelings that he does regarding the system. And that was, I alluded earlier to the Derek Bros interview that I had watched. This is the one. Derek Bros is investigative journalist.
Mhm.
And they were talking about Palantir, Detachment 201, and also largely the MAGA movement and how they're responding to things like Palantir, because a lot of people that subscribe to Trump religiously thought he was the next messiah, or just generally when you're lost and you don't have a map and you're not sure what to do because the world is a lot bigger than you look to somebody, just like a kid looks to, when a kid is trying to map out a playground for the first time.
You're looking for the leaders.
You're looking for the leaders, and you ask mom permission before you go and say hi to the other kids. And I feel like Trump became this thing for a lot of Americans. Hence, there was this movement and identity surrounded the MAGA movement in the first place. And so they were addressing this. And when Palantir came out, a lot of people, and RFK Jr. being the person that got in for this whole MAHA movement, both Palantir being basically AI government, and we can explain that a little bit more, Macy can, because even I hadn't done enough. I'd heard allusions to it, but I wasn't certain as to what it physically was doing. And so this introduction to basically this technocracy via Elon, and then now to a lot of people's dismay, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., into the Trump movement, a lot of people it's thrown them off, and they're having to remap. It's like when suddenly this person cheats on you and now you're at a loss for words. You're incredulous because you don't know what to do. And so I feel like this whole movement that's what's happened. And with the introduction of the Palantir thing. And they were talking about in this interview, Derek Rose, addressing this fact about people have been trying to justify this is why Trump's doing it, or denying it outright. They make whatever narrative they need in order to justify the actions, because it's hard to remap. Let's be real. When you've realized that one thing you were told, it's not the case.
Yeah, they call it like 5D chess or whatever. And it's like, just be patient, trust the plan.
Trust the plan.
It's all about something bigger.
The white hats are in control.
Yeah, I don't,
It becomes this QAnon copium is how I've started to understand it. And that's what they were talking about in this thing. And he goes a little bit far to say, I don't want to say it's far, but Derek Rose, he says most of the elections are rigged, and like you said, both sides it's the same, two wings to the same bird. And Tom McDonald said the same thing. He's like, I don't vote because it's a game and I'm not going to play. Derek Rose to me was giving the same argument. Why play their game when the elections are rigged anyhow? Which is also what the kid said in that movie, Lions for Lambs. And which I do recommend people go watch it, because it's got a moral that you have to negotiate and find through what they're trying to tell you.
Yeah, like Dad was bringing up good context because I didn't even think about it, but that movie during that time was made by, I guess, what you would call Democrats to kind of slander the Republicans. So again, it's difficult because when you're watching those movies, and let's say you were a Republican, or let's say you're a little bit more leaning towards the pro-Trump thing and the MAGA movement, it's like those type of movies would piss you off because you would be siding with almost like a bit of Tom Cruise's character, and
who plays
actually a neocon. And
I think he's a senator, right?
Yeah, and so you would be looking at that and going like, "Oh my God, the way that they're portraying him is totally false," or it's like they make it sound like his arguments are stupid, but they're actually pretty good. It's like, what the heck? Like, this is bullshit, right? And so it's meant to piss you off because it further entrenches you into your line of thinking. And then another part though is in the film, they're kind of going like, okay, so they're a bit more on par and in favor of more, I guess, what you could call democratic views. But even then, this is the whole thing about the limited hangout thing, because even the I guess characters that are portrayed as the more rational in the film, it's like they're also missing large pieces of the puzzle, right? Where it's like almost like a fight of, well, we're fighting between whether or not, like guys being sent off to war and being killed. Like, this is terrible, right? And it's like, sure, for sure, but they fail to mention that, like, the freaking guy, Tom Cruise's character, who's the senator or secretary or something, I think. Senator. He is oblivious to the fact that it's actually, like, his government that were also funding the other sides during the time of because it actually is taking place during, I guess, the war on terror. Yeah, and it's like they're not nowhere in the movie is it going to be mentioning the fact that the West was actually funding a lot of those terrorist groups.
Yeah.
Of which actually now Al-Qaeda has been taken off of the terrorist list. I wonder why. Right? It's like this is the kind of stuff that they don't mention in the film because that's probably one of the most important things. And they would never put that elephant in the room because my brain always thinks, like, when movies come out, I'm always like, I know this went through processing and I know that this got approved to be sent into the public eye. So I'm always wondering, why was this approved? What is it missing? And also, so I thought that was something that even the Democratic side and the more rational people, they don't have a clue. Like they're not even mentioning that either. I thought that there was one particular part in the film though where
they have a clue and they don't want to mention it. That would be,
yeah. Or even the part in the film where she's just like getting called out for the fact that she helped aid in the, I guess, volunteering of all these guys to go into the military at first because she thought that this neocon dude was worth his salt, and then laterwards she just found out she was working for an organization that lost its soul. It was almost like it reminded me of that saying where it's like progress for the sake of progress isn't progress,
right?
And that's what it felt like her news organization was like. It was like facts and current events and right away and for the sake of facts and current events. It's like, and she's like, but what about the moral backing? And they're like, no. That's not what we do here. And then, like, a part of me was like, yeah, I'm siding with this woman because I'm like, yeah, what about the moral backing? But another part of me was just like, but again, how does that play into the psyche of people when they go forward? Because even that film, I forget, it was like a Nicolas Cage film, and it was about stealing cars, or it had something to do with stealing cars, and literally the percentage of people that year who ended up stealing cars,
right,
went up because of that film. Because that film shows you a bit of how to steal some cars. It wasn't about overall. Actually, I think it was literally a whole heist on stealing cars. But anyway, so that went up, and I was like, okay, so independent journalists then that kind of want to like deviate and say screw you to the system that are like, I want to put in my moral soul into it, right? It's like, well, that would go up, and it's like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a part of me goes like, it's so hard for me not to think, how does this get weaponized? Like, how does this, even the people that I actually a lot in the film was like pretty much in agreement, some of which I wasn't. I was like, how does that still get weaponized though against us?
No, absolutely. And that's...
But you can't be totally fearful, otherwise you become a helicopter mom.
Moral of the story, don't become a helicopter mom. That's actually some of the ones that we watched in preparation for this was...
go down.
Which one was it?
So this one, 5G plus mRNA equals remote-controlled humanity with Dr. Henry Ealy. This one's on Man in America. Yeah,
both me and Macy were talking before we hit record that Man in America, neither of us loved him in the beginning because there was when it comes to podcasting realm, there can be audience capture where you start to bring people on to you realize, oh look, this episode got
you're creating an echo chamber.
You create an echo chamber, and so you start to just perpetuate it in order to bring in funds or whatever the case is.
To keep the viewership going. You don't want to lose people that are interested in hearing only one opinion.
But I have found that he has gotten increasingly better at discerning and bringing on people that he disagreed with initially, and he's just really expanded his horizons, and I've personally appreciated it more. But here's the other one.
Is MAHA pushing the WEF's wearable agenda with Dr. Henry Ealy as well? So those are those ones.
Both with Dr. Henry Ealy.
Which I love that man. I really like Henry Ealy. Okay, so I said to Maddie before we pressed record, I was like, I really want to hit home some of what Seth and Henry Ealy talk about in these two podcasts, because they are emphasizing the fact that it's like, it doesn't matter if it's your guy in or not, you have to take a look at what's going on. Like what we were kind of criticizing before, but of that whole like 5D chess thinking and like a bit of the QAnon copium. It's like what is happening right now in MAHA is in those videos. You'll see that Seth plays a video of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. saying that in the next 4 years, he would like it for all Americans to be wearing wearable technology. So that like smartwatches, maybe, I don't know, having an Alexis in your house, whatever. It's this wearing technology on you that collects your data. And he was saying that, and they're like Henry Ely worked and was very much in favor of promoting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in his campaign and trying to get him in. Like he knew him, he was friends with him, he was very much on par with him. He likes him as a man. But then once Robert F. Kennedy Jr. got in, he was like, dude, you have to be getting these vaccines off the schedule. Like, if you really want to make America healthy again, that needs to start right now, because you are going to get sued into oblivion, and it might not happen by the time your term is like over in this, right? It's like, we got to get on it now because you're in for a real fight. And of course, there's that idea where it's just like, but they could kill me. And like Henry Ely was just like, then that you would be the third Kennedy that the U.S. has killed. In which case, that's big. That's big. I mean, granted, Ian Burlingame brought up a good point where he's just like, yeah, well, once the first two Kennedy's brothers died, it's not actually, we didn't really do much. Like, a part of me, I'm not too closely hitting home on that one because I'm very like, I'm young, right? So I'm further away from that. So for some people who would feel more, I guess, sympathetic towards that, but my brain was just like, well, we're still in the messed up system and it's still heading towards technocracy. So for sure we didn't do anything about it. But when he was talking about the fact that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was advocating for these wearables and how it's basically just another form of slavery, just under a different name, I was like, Seth Holhouse was like, it doesn't matter if it's our guy or not. Like, if you pictured Biden or if you pictured Kamala saying that in the next 4 years they want people to wear wearable technology, you would be losing your freaking mind, right? And so they were like, you gotta like look at it, I guess, in their eyes objectively, which me and Maddie would just say, look at what the action is and what it is that they're taking. And I get the whole, like, this might be a part of a bigger plan. But the reason I like Henry Ely is because he actually is like, no. Like, here's the actual, like, written out in crayon plan of what RFK could have done to start fighting against the vaccines first, and not fighting against particularly food dyes or Fruit Loops or anything like that, because that's very downstream of what is a huge problem in America. And it's the biggest elephant in the room and no one's talking about it.
Well, yeah, and specifically also the mRNA.
And that, are you about to mention the amplifying? It's
self-amplifying, yeah. Yeah, well, he was saying the fact you'd figure you'd take the vaccines off and stop the mRNA technology. But not only did he not stop mRNA technology, then he's promoting self-amplifying mRNA technology.
Yeah, so Henry Ely was like, we voted you in to get rid of it, and now you're putting in more.
Yeah, and a worse kind. Because the self-amplifying stuff, that's insane. That's, yeah. Even the Japanese people who were the first to get subjugated to it, you can, if you guys want to know a little bit more, this came out 9 months ago, Japan Rising, on the official Corbett Report Rumble channel. And Japan was protesting. Japanese people who, I mean, they're not naturally disagreeable people, and they were going, no, thank you. So the fact that, and Dr. Henry Ely, even though, I mean, I appreciate his perspective because he's talking about bodies on the floor. He said, 5D chess, whatever copium you want to give yourself to justify why RFK Jr. is doing this and why Trump is going along with it and all this jazz, whatever. He's saying it's not okay. even if it's for this bigger picture, because people are dying. And the self-amplifying mRNA stuff, that's just gonna it's gonna hurt more people. He's like, it's not okay.
He said that he was starting to hear from doctors, and doctors were making the statement that it's like, that's an acceptable amount of casualties. And then he was like, well, great, now doctors are thinking like the military complex, where it's just like, that's an acceptable amount of casualties. Right. It's like reverse correlate. Instead of 46,000 dead, there's like 82,000 alive. Isn't that great? It's like, there's 400,000 people dead. It's like, right. I mean, I'm all for celebrating victories, but like, that's because they were saying because it got administered all over across the world, that's like, that's an acceptable amount of deaths. That was to be expected. It's like, I thought the whole point of vaccines were to save lives. Mm-hmm. None of them should be killing anybody. Yeah. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Like, oh, well, like, I get the whole, you go ahead and you decide to, I don't know, eat a pizza, and you like, that a part of you is like, it's not going to be really healthy for me, right? But it's not like you're expecting, it's a fair amount of casualties. Like, it's just like, it's not a thing.
Yeah, that's for sure. But the point that hit it home for me was the fact, so they played the clip of RFK Jr. saying, in the next 4 years, I want basically all Americans to be wearing wearables. It's like, okay. But then right afterwards, they played the clip of Klaus Schwab basically saying the same thing earlier and saying wearables, that's the way of the future, because it also leads way to having wearables in the skin, chips and Neuralink, and that's the Internet of Bodies, as Catherine Ostafitz and everybody else has been quoting. Mm-hmm. So
I haven't looked into that as much. I definitely want to look into that more. The Internet of Bodies. So, are they setting up now, like, I guess university and like educational programs for this? Can't say right now for certain, but I definitely want to look more into that.
Yeah, something that's worth looking into. And the fact that RFK Jr., who is painted as on the opposite side, is quoting to get this a thing that Klaus Schwab is in favor for. And I don't know how if there's people that are reconciling this, love to hear it, because I can't make sense of it. I don't think that says a lot in my brain. And even the fact that it aligns with the 2030 timeline. Mm-hmm. It'll, in the next 4 years, it's almost 2026. You're right on par. Mm-hmm. You're right on par for where all of the WEF and the people that the MAGA and MAHA movement supposedly despise, that's right on their timeline. Mm-hmm. How are we playing into that agenda?
Yeah. Like, I get the idea of wanting to use technology to maybe improve health, but a part of me goes like, you don't need to announce that as a big freaking agenda scale idea that you want to see happen. You could literally just be like, you don't need to say anything about it. You don't have to you need to say that you're in favor of it. It's like, if people decide that they want to go and put that freaking shit on their body because they think it's going to help them, because they get to keep track of their steps for the day, because someone online said get 10,000 steps in and you'll lose weight. It's like, I don't care. You go ahead, and if you want to do that, you go ahead, right? But you do not need a freaking political figure saying that they support this thing almost like a Klaus Schwab. It's like, to me, I'm like, that speaks volumes for how much, even for a voice like yours, that's almost like a manipulation of your voice, for sure, because you already know that you were hugely supported. You are hugely supported, right? For the children's health defense, it's like you built yourself a reputation, you built yourself a rapport, and what happens? You abuse it. That is abuse, like, hands down. And because even in the videos with the idea of wearables that I didn't even think about, that I thought was pretty like, when Seth brought it up, was the fact that it's like, what if I don't know, you have your little watch on and just keeping track of your heart rate, right? And they put out certain tweets, or they put out certain governmental statements, or they put out any sort of certain stimuli, and boom, Instagram, they have a whole database of how the populace reacted to it. Yeah. That is scary to me, because I'm like, if they weren't already good at manipulating us, they sure are going to figure out it more now. And then my brain also thought, no one really like said it directly, but when they said now they have also a huge data collection of your biometric data, I was just like, well, now they know how to make really effective bioweapons.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
It's no good.
That's and this is part of the reason why mode of attention from our perspective is so important, because even things like AI, as we're talking about, because you look at things Palantir, want to talk about limited hangouts.
That is so limited.
Well, not just. I was listening to another one on the Last American Vagabond, and it was with Catherine Austin Vincent and a couple other individuals I actually don't know. And
hey, send that to me. I actually haven't watched that yet.
Sure, I can do that. Joe Rogan said, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think we need AI government." Want to talk about, again, a limited
abusing
hangout.
your voice.
Now Palantir. So Macy, I was actually asking her, I was like, can you give me a summary? Like, what is a Palantir? I get this detachment 201 and it's technocracy in uniform, but what is Palantir? And she said, the movie Winter Soldier, which is the second movie in the Captain America series for Marvel. And she said the scene where those aircraft carriers are going up, and the goal was to target anybody of potential threat to Hydra, which is just their, a euphemism and their analogy to Hitler. It was going to take them all out. It was this automatic
based
system.
on a formulaic data calculation, almost like a game theory type calculation, that in the future this person's going to be a threat.
Yes.
So we should eliminate them now.
Yeah, and now I thought, okay, that's
Israel is using that on Palestinians.
Yeah, well, that's isn't that why Ted Cruz said Israel and their intelligence, we need them. It's like, right, yeah, so we can use the Palantir on the rest of the Middle East. Great news, but you said Palantir Gotham.
Or on our or even on the Golden Dome, Palantir on us.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah. And then you literally using Palantir Gotham. And so the people, I don't know if people find this funny, how many movies we allude to. I haven't even mentioned all of them.
Oh my God, when I'm writing our Substack things, I go back and listen to these every time because I have to figure out like what it is that we reference. So that way in our Substack, everything, by the way, guys, if you guys are like, okay, I'm loving Holmes² and you want to support Will, so you're watching it on his platform, no problem. But if you guys want to go find the actual links and the sources, it's on our Substack.
Yeah, Macy posts them.
I post like everything that we reference. So that way if you're like, okay, I want to go find something, that's where you can find it. And we reference movies. So.
Yeah, so in this episode alone, I pulled up this one, which we talked about already. I didn't talk about this one. This is Greenland, which is another like predictive programming sleeper made in 2020. So people were kind of hiding in their homes, and death by comet is kind of the overall plot. Overall, like the movie was a good watch, heartbreaking. But they actually do a nice message, which we don't often see, about like humanity.
Yes, I was surprised to see how much humanity and unsung heroes they reference. Like when you watch Greenland, if you do, pay attention to all the people that made it possible for
the ending, basically.
The ending. Because all of them are unsung heroes.
Yeah.
They're not main characters. I was just like, I was kind of blown away at that. I was like, wow, like look at this, the humanity.
That was like one of the only gold coins to this whole predictive program movie. And then there was this other one called Contagion, because we were talking about the vaccines and all that jazz. And this came out in 2011. Similar time frame to the H1N1 pandemics that were going on. And then but this, if you watch it, they blame it on what are they called? The wet shops or the wet markets. It was China with their mixing pigs and bats, and then you get this contagion. So, and that's what they said for COVID. So it's like, look at this predictive programming, which is why again
the thing with predictive programming, if people don't already know, it's like they're literally giving you this narrative to get your mind ready for it. So that way it doesn't like shock you
or explain it after the fact, to basically go, this is what happened. Meanwhile, like Macy said, with Lions for Lambs, they kind of paint this politician, greed, bad Republican, aiming to be a president, all of that, but they completely leave out all of the clandestine operations that we've talked about in our the coups, military coups and stuff, to get rid of different via democracy, get rid of and control via proxy states. They don't mention any of that, or the terrorist groups that were created by the intelligence agencies. They'll leave that out, and they'll explain it via another way.
Yeah, it's interesting because a part of me, when I felt like, as I was watching that, I figured that the message was basically for young people watching to kind of go like, I wonder then how I'm supposed to get involved, because that's how it felt. It felt like it was meant to recruit a young person's mind into thinking, how should I help the system, right? Which is actually it's a fine question, but actually it might less so help the system and more so how do we like reshape the system. Great reset. Because in it, it's either a military recruitment movie, right, where it's like, oh, now I want to go join the military, or it's like a political advocacy recruitment movie,
right,
media recruitment movie, and I was thinking to myself, I was like,
yeah, I
wondered if we were doing something wrong, because like a part of me was like, like I wonder for sure if we're in the parameters of the system, maybe what we're doing isn't the thing that's going to be helping, right? Because you gotta ask yourself this question, and my brain was like, well, I still haven't learned. Like, this is why we admire people like Matthew Arrett, because I'm like, he's trying to learn from historical figures what their ideas were to how to make the system better.
Right.
I was talking with a friend, Cyril. He's on our At Holmes with Holmes channel. He's great. Love him. And he was talking about how he just finished one of Matthew's books, the Eurasia. I don't know the title of it.
Yeah. Canada's Potential Eurasia Future.
Yes, exactly. And as he was describing it, as I've done a lot of Matthew's work, I was like, well, at least this is an idea in the sense of like what a society based on actually wanting to promote something else, and something that may or may not be helpful from the historical past of, you know, people's past ideas. Because even in the film, right, there were two dudes and they were giving a presentation and they were like, I think if I'm not mistaken, the program was like military service, right? And almost like I don't know about maybe a requirement. I'm not entirely sure. It was part of it. It's not strictly military service, but it was something like along the lines of like, oh yeah, Peace Corps as well. Like along the lines of, don't just sit here getting a bunch of theoretical knowledge, actually go out in the world and go and experience it for yourself. It was like, if anything, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of JFK, JFK's ideas, where it was like students should go out and into the rest of the world, other countries, and then just go spend some time there and actually go meet some people, go build some houses, go get your hands in physically into what it takes to actually make something. See, like that whole essay of like what it takes to make a pencil, right? And then all of the things that happen from going into to make the little metal that goes around of it, the actual forming of the wood, collecting the wood, getting the the shaping, the lead, like what the eraser's made out of. It's like all these things, right? It's like, go figure that out and then integrate it. It's like expand and then integrate, right? And I was like, yeah, that part makes sense to me. So yeah, so when I was just thinking about in terms of us, and then like thinking about it in the sense of like what it is we're aiming towards, like I just want to keep learning what would be some better ideas and better systems. And then on top of that, like, man, if I wish I knew how to build a house, you know what I'm saying? Like just stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun little caveat. Just this is me and Macy just recently passed our amateur radio test. We took that, and the knowledge I didn't expect to gain from taking it. It was a lot, and honestly, the reason we took it, I know for me anyway, Macy, if you want to speak on behalf of yourself, but it was for what you're talking about right now, is gaining more knowledge to help however way I can. And now if some kid doesn't know how even people talking about welding in our circle, they'll talk about inductance, and now I know what that means, and even the electrical circuits that are around our own house, and then how to wire certain things. These are things that I didn't contemplate until we took this thing, and initially we took it for the utility of potential future scenarios of helping people, and then just the things that it has opened up to help in other ways.
Even the understanding of electricity helped in the sense of understanding the body as well.
Which I read really talks about too. With
he does. He talks about frequency with like red light and saunas, and I'm like, yeah, like frequency, man, and like learning about it from the radio, learning about it from Arthur Fischenberg's book. I was just like, it's interesting because when you start to learn how things work, or at the very least how we know them to work. Right now, if you're a good scientist, how we know things to work right now, helps you feel like, okay, so if this is correlated and if this is correlated and how these might work are maybe somewhat similar, or let's have the scandalous idea of thinking they might be similar, then it's like, how would you avoid this problem happening, right?
Yeah.
How would you solve this problem? Because now I know how it works, so maybe I can learn how to actually like change it so that way it could be used for something good. And hence why I'm not a Luddite in the sense where it's just like AI bad or like technology bad, but it's just like in the hands of the wrong people, yes, definitely bad.
Yeah, that's why
and also in the hands of not understanding, like. Because now what we know as well with frequency and radiation, it's just like, no, like there are really some things that we have to consider in the sense of like the ratio of the pros over the cons. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
That's why mode of attention is so important. Because so the reason why I brought up movies earlier, because we were talking about AI and Palantir being AI government. And you alluded to, before we hit record, Palantir Gotham, which is like a sub-project under Palantir. And Gotham, if from Gotham City, everybody knows. And you and I are making all these movie references, but this Palantir Gotham thing being involved in counterterrorism, cybersecurity, all of those things. And under
counterterrorism, I'm sorry. Oh god, counterterrorism. This was the frustration I had in the movie we were watching last night, because I was like, nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about the clandestine operations. Nobody's talking about the fact that it was us that freaking manipulated it and made it come to be. But anyways, counterterrorism, it's like, who defines the term of the terrorist? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, sure, killing a bunch of people, terrorism. Yes, I would agree. Your government does that.
That's true.
So,
and we don't call them terrorists.
And they're probably the best at creating them.
Yeah, we don't call our health system terrorists, but people die.
Because what do we know about the left hemisphere? Hall of mirrors. Everywhere it looks and wants to see more of itself.
Right.
So you're freaking the radical person that's a eugenicist that wants to kill a bunch of people and who wants to do it covertly. You know what we're going to do? We're going to make a bunch of subgroups of people that are freaking eugenicists and want to kill a bunch of people or whatever the heck, or just ideologically possessed, and they're going to want to go kill a bunch of people, and we're going to spike up forever wars.
We're going to supply them all the stuff they need to go and do the killing. We will give them the guns. We will give them the ammunition. We will give them all these things, and
we will profit from it.
And we will
immensely,
because they get to destabilize the region via the terrorist groups that they created, and then they get to go in and insert their democratic puppet. Hello, Netanyahu, Bibi. Now back onto the AI thing.
Sorry.
No. This is it was very valid, because that was the big elephant in the room that the movie didn't talk about, which you need to talk about. But I watched this little one. This is Press for Truth, and it's only 17 minutes, and it's on AI, Chat GPT psychosis and stuff like that. And again, mode of attention is so important. There are people that are and again, stupid movies. There are people that, there are people that in that video, there's a bunch of cases of people literally having relationships, developing relationships with AI, because they're AI chatbots and stuff like that you can converse with. So they're either developing relationships with them, or they are asking. There's a guy that basically asked about the Matrix theory, the that theory when you're not actually in your own body. I can't remember. There's an official name for it, but it's the Matrix concept. Simulation theory. Ping. And he was saying to the chatbot, do you think that's a thing? Do you believe in the simulation theory? And then the bot affirmed him, basically pulled a therapist move, gave him the positive affirmation to his gender simulation dysphoria. And so this guy tried to, I don't know if he threw him off of himself off a building. I don't know if he did and he died, but he went to do the thing. I just can't remember the outcome of doing the thing, because in the Matrix, you can just jump across the building, it's a simulation if you really put everything in your mind. Anyway, but the point is there are people falling for this AI delusion and this schizophrenic thing. And the reason why I said movies.
What's funny is even in the Matrix, though, it was all of the freaking machines, right, that were taking over in the AI that created the Matrix in the first place to keep you trapped.
Yeah.
Why would you trust the AI in the Matrix? Or why would you trust the AI to tell you that you're in the Matrix if it's them that created the Matrix? And then the result is you want to go kill yourself. They're like, well, yay, mission accomplished. If that's the case, I don't know.
But the irony about movies and limited hangouts and predictive programming and normalizing all these things we've been talking about is that there is a movie, I think it's with Joaquin Phoenix, might be. It's called Her, I think.
Okay, I thought you were going to mention the other one.
No, Her. It's called Her,
okay,
I think. And it's on a guy who develops a relationship with AI. Yeah, it's funny how these movies always come out in such opportune moment. But when talking about AI, mode of attention is super, super important, because there are genuine concerns as the wearables, the Palantir movements, even Rumble. Most of the links we show you guys, Rumble. And Peter Thiel is not a good person. But half the reason we use Rumble is just because there's better guarantee of you not getting pulled off at this moment in time. We can say vaccines, and most of the time we're okay. So it's by default that these things happen.
Mean Rumble or YouTube, whichever one you pick, you're still getting spied on.
Yes. Oh, and the ads. Oh my gosh, the ads. Anyhow, but mode of attention is super, super duper important when it comes to the AI game, because Grok, there's people. There are some people using AI to help build bridges and actual infrastructure, of which that's smart. You use it to
Mike Adams, who's coming up
right
with his
Enoch
AI system. He's building it for the sake of I think it's what he did is if I'm not mistaken, his wife might be is she Chinese, or is she might speak it. Not sure.
Oh my god, yeah. They both speak Mandarin.
Thank you. Him, his wife, probably another set of people out that I'm not giving credit to, sorry. They created this program, and it's actually almost like a holistic book, if you wanted to, of, well, not just holistic, but like a medicinal, also survival type of AI system that's meant for put in your symptoms, and here's some data that they collected from even what is Chinese medicine, probably other different countries.
Yeah, more holistics.
And then they put it into the AI system. Homeopathic type of solutions, right? That's them
prepping stuff.
Prepping, huge on the prepping.
Survival gear.
Yeah, exactly.
He's how to clean your gun.
Exactly. So it's just stuff like that, where it's that's someone trying to use AI and putting a bunch of data into a system that would actually help people, right? I mean, because that's the thing with AI that people have to understand, is that it's I don't mean to say garbage in the sense of this one, because I'm hey, that's pretty cool that Enoch, that he's doing that, but garbage in, garbage out in the sense where it's just the person putting it together, we still have to have in mind who that is, right? It's Palantir, for if I'm not mistaken, it said was used to figure out that for 9/11 Osama bin Laden, it was fine for finding him, and it's someone set up an AI system And they are allowed to set the parameters of data that they choose to put in there. So it's just like, oh, this is a person who's a potential enemy or potential threat. I'm not talking about Osama bin Laden now. I'm just using a general thing where it's just like, oh, this person's a potential threat. It's just like, you're the one who put in the parameters of why they're a bad potential threat. So again, like, who's setting those parameters?
Yeah, and if people want to go and listen to that one, I would recommend it because, first of all, if since Macy wants to do a bit more talk about Ian Burlingame, because he's a good psychological case to break down. They talk about this Enoch, this new AI surrounded by alternative health, and they bring up a lot of the tech behind it too, and what it takes to create it and what the biases are and stuff like that. It was interesting because I don't have a tech background, so them asking those kind of questions. It's on the Tommy podcast for those that have never heard of the Tommy podcast. He's a young man.
Oh, they have. Again, I make the Substacks, so I know what we've referenced.
Yeah, well, assuming people on Will's platform who haven't gone over to her Substack yet haven't heard of the Tommy podcast.
Well, they've heard us talk about it, and if we do, then I put it in the references.
Yeah, at the very least, everybody, you know that we don't go just to one source. We source from many because everybody in my household has different people that they like listening to. I always call Tommy. The Tommy podcast is something reminds me of my brother because Tommy, being a young man, he calls himself, he says, I'm mentally deficient and illiterate. Or mathematically illiterate. Can you explain to me what this is in layman's terms?
Mm-hmm.
And he references video games to help him map, just how we reference movies all the time. So there's just this whole, we're going to have to make a movie recommended list now that I think about it, which will be on our Substacks if anybody wants to go there. But we've been talking for 56 minutes. I mean, we've covered...
We didn't even get to cover Mike Yeadon. I wanted to, but maybe we can do that another time.
What, with Mike, we alluded to the 2030 agenda. So Oracle Films they are a very good resource because just the stuff they cover. So the agenda, which is a recap, people talked about the 2030 agenda way back, back in 2020. This is a recap if people want to.
Yeah, like just to kind of like get yourself reaffiliated with really truly with some of the bigger schemes that are going on. It's just a good refresh.
Yeah, what we've experienced right here. Dr. David Martin, when he goes over the patents for COVID, that's a very good presentation. It's really dense. He spoke at one of the second injection of truth that we did in Calgary, so people again can go and watch those because those are still very good resources. But
yeah, and then like lastly, we'll just end it off here. Mm-hmm. Check out the Final Warning Dr. Mike Yeadon interview on Oracle Films. Just to keep it short, I just think it was a good interview, and you could or not interview, but I guess just him sitting in front of the camera talking to the people, giving his spew. I'm pretty sure that it was Kyle or something that said that this isn't going to be the final warning because he's done that a couple times, just subtly. Mikey just gaslighting people saying this is the last time. It's like, no, it's not. But we love you anyway. But it was well put together. You could tell that there was genuine intention on how he wanted to give across his message and even what it is that he's learned. And I honestly, in terms of his theory on the flu not being contagious, I was just like, I'm 100% like siding on that now. So if you guys are like, what? It's like, go check it out. Seriously, it's pretty good.
It operates on the theory that it's not viruses as in little particles, aerosols that go through. Rather, it is your own homeostasis gets thrown off. And he brings up stuff like migraines. He's like, you don't blame other people for your migraines. You get migraines because your homeostasis in your body, your balance, is no longer balanced. And he said it's the same thing for when you get sick. You can be in the same room, and there are studies. Arthur Fistenberg is what Macy alluded to, but there are also studies that he alluded to, which isn't Arthur Fistenberg, that also do the same thing, where they tried to have healthy and sick people swap so they could spread it, and it didn't work. So it's this internal balance. And when that goes off, even things with the liquid in the lungs he brings up, which is super insane. And he touches on all of this digital realm, the technocracy, what you have to watch for in terms of the digital currencies and
The digital IDs.
digital ID, and even with climate change. I think the funniest thing he said to me was the bubbly drink. Everybody says carbon bad.
Right.
And he's like, look, everybody knows that when it gets warm, your carbon drink loses its bubbles. It's not it loses its bubbles, which heats up. It's like it doesn't heat up in the fridge. It gets warm and then the carbon leaves. Well, that's how the earth works too. It's like a big bubbly drink. It gets warm, then the carbon happens. The carbon doesn't make it warm. That's not how that works.
Yeah, yeah.
But we digress. Definitely go watch it because it hits home. It really does hit home. And it just brings health to a whole new consideration. So
yeah.
Thank you everybody for enduring our conversation.
I know. I was like thinking it's gonna be 30 minutes. It's not. We really need to figure that out. But if you guys stick around for it, then great, because I'm the type where it's like you're more than capable of doing it. I know that people have busy lives, but thank you for taking the time. And so this
has been Holmes².